So let's talk about the wisdom that's within the words of love. Fertile environments are coming through. The fertile environment is one in which I am respected by many. Okay? Now, what happens when my own vision is that there are people in my family who don't respect my opinion? That's par for the course when you go down any path that is alternative in any way. And people will say, yeah, but I've got all these other people who believe the same way, so it kind of cancels out. I'm on my own for the most part, because most people still have it in their heads that they aren't working with a soul worker. Instead, they're working with a man up in the sky, or others are coming down and saying, no, they are not with the man in the sky. They know they're vibrating in that vision of what a soul had for them. So that was the idea of, I'm going to vibrate in the vision that someone else had for me, which was basically his own version of what his soul had for him. I'm going to be the, gatekeeper, right? That's one vision. The gatekeepers of the world, the people who say, I can take you to the light. Do you want to know what the light is? It is your own creation based on where you are in your own vibration. If you are of heaven, you will go to heaven. Whether or not there's a gate there, it makes no difference. Okay? If you feel like you need to create a gate in order to get inside that heavenly realm, then by all means, go ahead, create the gate. What happens when you don't cross over? Most people assume they cross over to heaven. They don't realize the veil has been with us the whole time. It's not a passing of the time while you wait for your family tree to come over. It can be for some. They might say, I have some work to do. Others work out their differences in the moment. So Brenda has been letting people go in her heart. And when we say people go, we mean they go. She can literally feel the vibration of certain people as they leave her body. Okay? This is the conditioned mindset of a child. I have to be part of somebody in order to, like them. Right? I don't have to be a part of anybody to like them. I don't need to know what their vibration is. I can say, that's a person, and I honor you for your vision. But I can't be a part of someone who says, I honor you, but I'm going to throw, rocks at your face. How many people want to know what that's like? There are people in this world who throw rocks at people because they feel that's the best way to behave. Do we endorse their behavior? As a guide, I would say I don't think that would be qualifying as the way to get your own vision, put across. Some people say I had to in order to free myself from the slave state that I was in. And that might be the case. However, what kind of violence do we really need at this point in time, depending on where you are in this world? Some people may need those weapons of mass, caliber to get their point across, right? What does it show us? I am of power, right? I've got this weapon. It shows weakness in the eyes of many. Because what you're basically saying is my ideas are not able to be broadcast as visions within the word of God. So these are often the people who say, this is God's work. No, it is not. It is God's work. It's not Jesus. Again, we're there again with the idea that everyone is of Jesus who's That's not true. What are you going to do with the weapons is the big question. I'm here to demonstrate and I have a big gun. What does that send out to the people? I'm threatening you, essentially. Or you're protecting yourself, right? You could be, I have to protect myself with a big weapon against... No one is going to stop a protester, usually, in this country, if they're doing peaceful demonstrations, or even if they're angry. Once you start bringing in the weapons, then you start to get a little bit more interesting in what your vision holds for those who are of that movement. So we're going to talk about the movement of civil unrest, because that's where most people are at this point. We're protesting this thing, we're protesting that idea, and we want to be able to come together and protest and say this is not right. How come it is okay for people to protest with violence in their minds by bringing out weapons, but a person who stands down when the, Star-Spangled Banner is played is somehow demonized for it? These people over here are revered for their fear and intimidation. What, my friends, does that say to you about your ideas? So let's talk about the civil unrest. Because it doesn't really matter. In your hearts, your souls would say, I understand you're doing the right thing for you in the moment, right? It could be setting you on a path of destruction. It could be setting you on a path of terrorist, right? If you were a terrorist, you could say, I'm going to lob bombs on a certain person in this world because they're saying something I don't like. What is the line being drawn between those who are creating havoc in the world just by protesting? It can create havoc, versus those who are now, I'm going to up the ante of a protest by bringing a large caliber rifle to it. We have school children who are being slaughtered by weapons of mass caliber. We want to go there? Your soul is going to disagree with you. I can guarantee you that. Now, I know as a guide, most people say this is just Brenda's heart coming through. So we can talk both sides of the issue. I'm a mass caliber rifle owner, and I want to get some attention on the screen, the television screen or the newspapers or whatever, to see that I made a difference. That's what protest says. I made a difference. I made it known that I am not happy with how this world looks to me based on my own ideas of what is and isn't going on in the way that I see it. Now, if my perspective was one of someone who just passed away from a disease that could have been prevented by someone else not carrying it around, am I going to hold those people that carry around the disease without them knowing it? I'm not going to carry out a grudge on those people, right? Because in essence, we know that most people don't know when they catch it. However, because of the nature of most states being on a sheltering initiative where they could stay home, not the essentials, but that's the nature. We still don't know who is and isn't, well, we were going to say contaminated with the influenza virus. It could have been an influenza virus, right? How many people were like, oh, I have the flu, I don't have the COVID. We don't have enough information to give people about COVID, right? I could tell you that number again. Free the mind from the numbers of people that die every day from any other disease. So now people are saying, well, it's just like the flu. And in essence, it is. The difference with this one is the nature of it is severe and its application for most people. So it doesn't mean that most people will die. That is far from the truth, and we know that. But the application of it has been severe for many. I'm going to apply this reasoning to the COVID. I'm going to apply the reasoning of flu to that of COVID and see if there is a chance that we can somehow come up with a diagram that would show the rate of return on female prisoners who are going to start dying because of COVID, because they are in those tight spaces, and those who are in the essential workers who then get to be around those people who refuse to wear the mask. Okay? How many people are not prepared for an outbreak of COVID or even the flu? Now, the flu was a dangerous one in that it came very suddenly and we didn't have any preparations for it. This is a soul from the flu of 1920. It was 2 years later and I still got that flu. This is going to be with us for a while, was what Brenda said. We have said to her, don't ever predict the future on screen, because people will go back and watch it and then forgive you if you don't have it 100%. So for her, in her mind, she's like, yeah, I remember, being told 2 to 3 years. When I die in 2 to 3 years, as a guide, okay, I am prepared to die for my family. That's what most people will say. Yet they are not honoring the idea of what it means for someone to die because of their family. Let's look at that idea. I have a victim on the phone who says, I'm so sorry, my family member is grieving my loss. They knew they had it and they didn't give us warning. They knew they went to someone's house. They knew they had a vision of party or of, it's not fear. We don't want to show fear in the face of a flu or of a disease. Okay, the virus. So people in this world are saying there's so many more diseases that are being held back from the people because they're dealing with the pandemic. We're giving you that guide. I'm not going to kill you with cancer while you're dealing with COVID. How many people want to know that? Okay. How many people want to know whether or not they're going to deal with a different disease? I'm diseased and my immune system is lowered, but yet my family thinks it's okay to go out and be running around with other family members even. How many people keep going out with various people and then they think, oh, but this person's okay and that person. You can go to your family trees and ask them, how many other people have you come into contact with? How many people can say 5? Okay? 5 people. That's the max for most people in this world at this point, within a range of 2 to 3 with their families. Okay? The number that most people are in contact with at this point it's minorities that are in bigger families. They're running around, right? That's what people are thinking. Oh, they're running around. Most people are out working. These are our essential workers who have to prepare the fields or the produce for the female holders of wisdom that want to go have a party, right? Let's go party and we don't have to worry about it because we'll all be safe. We're all, aware of each other's friends until you're not. Until there's one person who breaks the chain. It takes one person to break the chain before that disease gets unleashed on a family. 1. Think about your parties that you're having. How many people know for a fact they're in contact with other people? I'm an essential worker. I don't have a choice. Now I'm getting hired back. Thank God. I've got the money now to go do what I want. Right? I can go play. I can go eat. I can go have fun. This is going to happen for the majority of people coming up soon. It's not going to be the same. You will wonder yourself whether or not you were indeed part of the problem rather than the solution. So this is what we're going to call this. Whether or not we agree with Brenda makes no difference. It is not in her heart to have a session that is just about her viewpoint. She knows how to do that. She can see the side of the road, right? I go for drives. I get out by going for a walk or on the bike or on the scooter or something. Most people don't have it in their minds. I don't have to be around other people. Now we are. People need that touch and that love and that companionship from their family. And so we would say, go see your family. Your family's creating a beautiful expression. Let's all quarantine, and then we don't have to worry. Right? Let's all quarantine, and then we don't have to worry about joining our families. How often are we going to get together? 3 years? How many times are you going to see your family in 3 years? It's unrealistic to expect people to shelter at home for 2 or 3 months, right? Versus I'm going to put my family at risk, potentially endangering several of my extended family members who don't get to come because of your behavior. I don't get to come to my family's parties anymore because if I want to live, I might not trust certain people in my family. How many people have to worry about that? My family doesn't listen to the lawyers, right? Oh, we've got lawyers on the line. I know more about the Constitution, right? I get to go protest. I get to go do whatever I want, right? Now you get to protest. You can carry those weapons in certain areas. You can be intimidating to people. What you're not understanding is that your message gets lost in essence, except for those that already agree that that's an acceptable way to protest. If you're in alignment with those who say, I want to create havoc in the world, and many do, then that would be an appropriate response. Let's go create havoc amongst the people who are trying to help save me. But that's okay. I can do for myself. When you rely on the medical emergency services because you are out having a good time with people without taking proper precautions, do you consider the fact that you're a drain on the system yourself? You will become a drain on the system when you go into the hospital or you utilize the medical services, and probably you have insurance. I hope you do. You'll be paying quite a lot for those medical services related to your health if you come down with it in a way that is experienced by only 3% of the people who do actually come down with it. So most of the people don't go into the hospital. Most of the people are fine, and most of the people are healthy for the most part. But for those who are dealing with it day after day after day, with the exposure and with the reality of it, they would say, I'm with these people. I want them to protest. I want to be able to protest myself against those who are protesting. How come we had doctors on the front lines saying, please stay home. Please stay home. I am working overtime day and night to keep you guys healthy and safe. And yet you basically throw your hands in the air, scream and shout, cough and hug and kiss each other, right? How many people know they can't go out on a date? Oh wait, who are those people? Right? I don't know who these people are. How am I supposed to mingle with people if I'm not sure whether or not they're quarantined or not? So we all have to take our chances in this world. Who do we trust? Because that's the question that it basically comes down to. Am I in a position to be telling people how to behave? The answer is in some cases yes, and in some cases no. I have family in places where I don't want them coming into contact with people who are not even trying to be a participant in the health of the world, because it spreads. So the World Health Organization is being under attack by many people who claim it's a false flag incident. That's one theory based on a giant leap in consciousness, right? We're the way showers. That's many. They will say this is a false flag. It's not real. It was made up by a soul to say, I need help, right? I need help because I'm sick. How many people do we have to have on the deathbeds who say, this is actually my reality? Did I pay attention to the media too much? Did I look at the statistics too much? Did I read the Bible enough? How many of them were in Bible study every day and still came down with it? They were convinced it was a fake flu. You've been notified of your ignorance based on your understanding of, or lack of, the Bible. You do not create with Jesus when you're in that mindset of, I'm going to ignore the signs around me. And some people would say that's the science versus the religion. Science versus religion go hand in hand. It's not all together separate. They are variants of each other. Believe it or not. People are starting to combine the two, right? I have faith, but I also believe in science. And when you have faith in a system that says that you are protected, and yet your body denies that vision. Okay? Most people who pray for a release from COVID will be granted that release. Right? Most people start to create that vision of, if I'm sick, I'm going to pray that I am healthy. I'm going to pray that I'm not sick. I'm going to pray for help from another soul other than my own. How many people get the results? Well, let's look at it this way. If I was to tell you that my own soul is very condemning of me when I go outside of my own heart and I say things that they don't agree with, okay? I don't agree with your method of vibration. I don't agree with your method of love. I don't agree with your method of career. I don't agree with your method of visualizing parents when you could have visualized a guide. Okay? I'm not the parent of anybody. I'm the soul worker. And I'm here to tell you that 3 or 4 of my guides have gone through the other side's explanation for why they do what they do. And they're saying we have a hard time accepting people telling us how to be. And if that is the case, what is it that you really need in this world? Most people are saying, I want freedom. I want to do what I want. At what cost? So that's the spiritual paradigm too. Let's face our fear. Let's ride this wave, right? Let's not give in to the fear of COVID. Let's just enjoy it. That's seriously what some people say. They'll say, I'm going to take advantage of the situation of COVID to go in and enjoy my own vision of what it is that's happening. I get to be peaceful in my mind. I don't have to worry about the loved ones that are being, well, some would say they're being attacked directly, but Brenda is very much not on that page. She knows very many people who are not paying attention to the rules that are being enacted in this world, and especially in her state. Let's put it that way. This lady knows what she's talking about. She's been updates by Governor Newsom are not being looked at by those who don't agree with his plan. You might want to tune in if you want to know what's actually going to happen. You're going to protect yourself from your own soul. So let's look at this. So let's think about this. I am envisioning a guide who can come in and say, let's understand the peace process that we're trying to create. So many people are trying to create peace on earth, and yet the others as well. Brenda knows of a certain soul who in his mind is of peace, but can't be held back from disagreeing with the majority of the people that anger him. Okay. So she has 5 years of guidance waiting for her in her mind. Okay. What it is that this was not the method of doing this work. We want you to realize that the vision is of methodologies. The method that I chose to do the work is often intrusive into the world of other people. I am not allowed to vibrate higher than people on a different plane. I am absolutely on a different plane than the majority of the people in this world. I get to see the players who make the visions happen. I get to know who's having fun and who's not when they go outside. So it's about the freak show energy that I created with my family was the beautiful expression for my heart. Most people will say, this is not a vision for me. Brenda's a freak, right? Let's talk about that. Why does she react to that vision of freak show? That's where people go. You want to know what's going to happen to you? I guess I'm your soul, right? I can create a beautiful vision for you. I can create a beautiful heart. And I can create the nice, sensitive soul that used to live in her heart. Most people will assume that Brenda has changed for the worst based on her ideas about who gets the love from her. Most people are not posting their love for families because of the guidance that is coming through. I love my family, but I don't agree with their political beliefs. That's her. I expect the same thing, right? I would imagine it for most of my family. How many people say, I can't even walk in a room with you at some point without creating a stir? But in essence, what we need to talk about is the nature of relating to family trees and their vision for themselves. I want to be held up in love and admiration. Then that means that I would need to be expressive. I'm supposed to be expressing myself, yet I'm being denied that because of the conditioning of another system that says that I'm supposed to act a certain way in order to be a certain way. So in order for me to be loved by my family, right, I have to be guaranteeing their crossing over into another plane of existence. Most people don't know what it's like to go to heaven. Most people don't know what it's like to create a bridge from somebody to somebody else. So in my moment, when I said I'm disagreeing with somebody, usually what happens is there are other parties who are splitting off, right? These people are splitting off. We're dividing people in our moment. And in that moment, others are uniting. I get to be the person to say, I broke up the plaintiff and the defendant, right? We've got the plaintiff and the defendant. The lawyers of the world know the difference about what is and isn't appropriate for protest. We can leave it to the lawyers, okay? Because there will be suits against anyone who comes within a certain amount of distance of a certain political figure with a violent intent. Okay, so there are laws against what you can and can't do in certain areas. Whether or not the Michigan governor decides to use the power of her office to prosecute is a whole nother story. Can create another bit of havoc. Watch and see. They are interrogating the souls of justice. We want justice. You have no idea what it is to know that in the higher realms of being, justice is very much a vibration of equality for all. And if you're somehow feeling like you are being, perceived as less than, then yeah, you get to rise up. And in my moment of understanding, I'm saying, I get it. You want to be free from the, condemnation of society, right? You have your supporters who are going to cheer you on in that moment. It's a beautiful thing. I get to have people support me. When I don't get supported, though, that's when things start to go a little haywire. And we're going to talk about that. The visionaries of the world who have the information at their fingertips about your life might have a little bit of say in what they post and don't post. I'm not going to post anyone's vision for people that I don't know, that are not prepared to come and sit with me. Okay? If you're asking for attention by being in a public setting and you're going to be on the news, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to comment on it, because it says something about where you are in your mindset. I need to have that attention. Just like I, as a heart-centered soul, would say, I get it. I want my attention too. I want people to be loving towards everybody, not have hate in their heart. Because in those moments when I'm carrying that weapon of mass caliber, what is actually going on in my mind? I love my family so much, I want to be with them. Are you not with your families? Who are you trying to impress with the weaponry? Other supporters of your heart. So for us, in essence, people who make a ruckus are looking to create a statement of, I am. And that's what it is. I am whatever that ruckus is. I am for peace, potentially. I am for ruckus. So the peacemakers of the world are trying to invoke peace where there is none to be had. The situation at hand will not be of peace, and I can guarantee you that. Because in essence, we've created a divide that is so strong based on the political aspects that have outlived very many people at this point. Okay, the political process that we've created in this country will be deemed very much strengthened by those who create the beauty of it. Okay, we have a political ideal that's not being met by some souls because we are being told we are being taken advantage of, or we're hurt, or we're creating a victim mindset. Right? Brenda knows it. Okay? Sometimes for her, she's like, oh, I reacted, but I'm going to post anyways. And she thought, revolution. That's what these people think they're doing. They think they're creating a revolution. They are not indeed it is considered a revolution in their minds. They don't know the higher vision of what a revolution can actually be. Does their vision create change, or does it create more destruction? Are they looking to destroy the planet with their weapons, potentially? Or are they looking to save it? Because in their minds, they're thinking, I'm going to save this country. From who and what? And when we say from who, we don't mean the organization. They're saving it from the other party in their minds. A person who in her heart is trying to save those very people. That's who you're saving. Okay? I'm saving the people who think that they're going to save the party. They're worried about the Republican agenda. The man has no integrity whatsoever. That's his guide. Literally, the integrity of his soul has been called into it. He has integrity on various issues. He sticks with it. So that's his integrity. He very much has integrity because he's very much convinced in his ideals. But what it says is that I'm blaming other people for the misdeeds that I myself created. That's his soul. And we can go there. I've created a situation where I'm encouraging people who are obstructing other souls from, rising up, right? How come I'm against people who are holding weapons against a Democratic governor, and yet I'm angry and mad about a person on the sidelines who is not standing for the flag or to the song? We seem to have an issue with various forms of protest are okay. If you're for my kind of vision, I agree with your protest. If you're for someone else's idea of a ideal, then I'm against it. This is so many people. Brenda honors all protest. She has no problems with people protesting at all. What she questions is the motivation when someone brings high caliber rifles into the picture. Your picture is there on the web. We get it, right? Who are you? We don't see anything except, your eyes. Are you afraid to be seen for who you are? Are you afraid of getting sick? Because if you are, then why are you even there in the first place? Because those would be the same people that would want to stay home potentially and not get sick. There's a conflict in the message of Brenda, right? So people think, oh, she's against protest. Absolutely not. She would protest many things that go even against her ideals if it was right. If it was right. She understands people have the right to protest. What would she do? She was holding the energy for them. Let them be peaceful protesters. Let them be higher vibrational protesters. Let them be protesters that know they have the right vision but the wrong methodology. Her vision is that I'm going to do the best that I can for the souls that know that they were wrong in what they did, right? They still feel very justified in bringing through the guidance for a grand entrance. When we say there's a grand entrance, Brenda knows, it's my turn to come on through. she's got the wisdom that 3 or 4 victim mindsets have already convicted her of. So she already knows, when I came through online with a vision, she's got 3 victims of COVID on the line. How many people want to hear their stories of protest?